It's Friday. Welcome to Invisible Walls, episode 69, the ESRB's worst nightmare. We are going to be taking a trip through the annals of
I'm not going there. I promise that'd be good.
of video game sex. So make sure you keep that iPod out of your pocket during the show. There's going to be lots of good footage. We do have a solid crew today to celebrate this monumental episode. Marcus Beer, as always, is here.
69.
Mike Damiani is not on the mic yet, but he will be momentarily. Bloodworth is sitting in today.
Yep, I am.
Miguel Lopez is going to sit in for the first part of the show, so he has the mic. Hopefully he won't barf on the table.
I'd like to say leave the podcast in your pocket, but put it on vibrate.
Especially this one.
Yeah.
And Brooks Huber's on the show today.
All right.
Let's do it. The weekend's yeah. All right, so we are in the great summer drought of 2009. Not a lot of games coming out right now. You really few and far between. The good news is that DLC, downloadable content, has really sort of towed the cart home, so to speak. And we're going to talk about some of the best DLC from this summer that you guys should definitely check out. The first we're going to talk about is Fat Princess, which came out last week. We did talk about the beta back in the day whenever that came out, but we now have the full game. So let's talk a little bit about it. Now, Miguel, you're reviewing the game for the site. I'm actually just playing it because I just want to. And I played a lot of it this weekend. How are you feeling so far about the game now that you've got your hands on the full thing?
I think it plays great. The premise is really cool. It reminds me a lot of World of Warcraft Battlegrounds, like one of the main PvP elements in World of Warcraft, but sort of stripped down into a really simple, fast action game.
But it's not that stripped down, right?
It's not that stripped down, no.
Maybe to someone who plays MMOs it is, but to me, the action gamer, it doesn't feel like it's all that stripped down.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you're not juggling ability cooldowns and that kind of thing. You're not having to worry about the sort of like longer tail stuff about characters. But yeah, it's certainly strategic, and it brings me to one point that I've noticed that I am kind of lamenting right now is the fact that a whole lot of people who you play with on PSN, like nobody's really talking, and that's a game that would benefit really like a whole lot from coordination, don't you think?
Yeah, I think it goes back to what I've said on the show before, is that Sony needs to pack in a headset with its system. I mean, that's an advantage you have on Xbox Live because you know when someone buys a 360, they're getting a headset.
Right.
And it's very easy to use. You just plug the sucker into the controller and you go. You know, you can use any Bluetooth headset, but I think it's pretty obvious at this point that people aren't using the Bluetooth headsets. A lot of people have them, but you get in a game there and there's just like one or two people and they're usually annoying and you just mute them. So
yeah, I could count on one hand a number of people I've heard talk since this game has come out, and it sucks, man. Like, just think about how the classes, they all have these abilities that complement each other.
Yeah, you need coordination. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Now, what about the D-pad? Because there are certain buttons mapped to the D-pad where you could tell people, like, follow me, help me, but it doesn't really work at all, do they?
They just ignore you. They don't care.
That's what I wonder. It's like, are people just going to do what they do anyways?
Yeah.
They get their mindset on which class they want to be, and they just do it.
The thing, communication in that game really helps, like, even before you start fighting, right? Like, you want to coordinate with your friends. Like, all right, you be a priest, you be a wizard, and I'll be an archer. That way, when we get mobbed, the mage can do the ice thing that slows everybody down. We could fall back and, like, blast them while the priest heals. Like, that kind of thing. But what is cool is that if you do go in with, like, 3 or 4 friends, you could team up,
Oh, yeah. And you could each play a role, and you can be a pretty successful little crew of people.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that really hit me about the game is the chaos. I mean, it is freaking chaos.
Yeah.
There are just people running everywhere. Some people are carrying logs, some are carrying pieces of cake, some people are casting healings. It's just nuts.
Yeah.
It gets almost too jambled at times because there's like 12 guys on screen at once and like 4 of them are casting spells and like they're all running around and hacking and shooting, and it's hard to follow like who's on your team and who isn't at some points.
Right. Yeah, exactly. For me, sometimes it takes like 2 seconds, which is like 2 seconds too late.
Exactly.
Before the color registers, it's like I'm running toward this guy, and then all of a sudden, he's beating my ass with his staff.
Yeah.
And it's too late.
And that's keeping in tone with episode 69.
That's right.
Yes.
Beaten with a big
What
stick.
I love is I just like run past a whole bunch of dudes that should be attacking me, and like, okay.
Right.
Yeah, as long as they're distracted, you can get behind them.
Now, what do you think about the netcode? Because there's been this whole thing over the weekend. There's been the glitch in the netcode that's actually pairing people up with people with abnormally high pings. And the developers have actually issued a statement today that they're working on a patch for the game to address this netcode issue.
Why wouldn't they have that sorted before they release the game?
I don't know. I was telling you earlier, Shane, I haven't been able to get into a full game that ran from beginning to end and actually worked.
Last week it was awful. I would literally sit there. I'd like set it up, let it start searching for a server. I'd go through my apartment doing stuff, go check email or whatever, come back. It would never hook in. If it did, I'd be like, woohoo! This weekend I actually didn't have any problems with it at all. I was able to join games like right away. So maybe
Yes,
it's like
Saturday and Sunday, is when I was trying to play, and both days I had weird problems. One match, like, we lost because it stopped spawning worker hats, so we couldn't repair the gates.
wow.
Oh, really? Stuff
Yeah.
like that? Wow.
Well, remember the beta, you couldn't match up with someone unless they were on your friends list. So I went out on message boards and like reached out to people and like got people on and now they're still my friends. I don't know who any of them are, but
Yeah. There's a guy that sent me a PM on Game Trailers. He has a clan going. I have to hook up with that.
oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
But there isn't a clan system, is there, built into the game?
I don't think so.
It's just like for shits and giggles, I guess. Like
Yeah, if you want to...
set up your own little bracket or whatever.
Yeah, you organize, and then, you know that you always have people who know what they're doing to play with.
Now in the beta we had one map. Now obviously we have access to all of them. In hindsight now, I love that map that they gave us in the beta. I think it's the one that I enjoyed the most.
I didn't play the beta. Which one is the map?
I don't even remember what it's
The
called. What
simple
is it?
grassy field. There's no traps really.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's water in the middle.
Right.
And
There's
there's like
one bridge at
one
the top.
bridge.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
as it turns out, that ended up being my favorite map, which is probably why they use that for the beta. But a lot of the other maps, it's like they're too big, too sprawling. There's too many choke points in them where you have to go across like a rope bridge or whatever.
Right.
And I mean, one technique that I've discovered is just sitting there and just spamming grenades at the at the
bombs.
mouth of the bridge
Yeah.
because they have to come across it. Otherwise, they have to jump in the water and lose health. So they all keep coming across. And if you're sitting there just spamming grenades and you have someone else who's playing an archer just sort of like softening them up as they come across the bridge, they get to the end of that bridge and the grenade blows up and they just die. I mean, I was just rolling up like dozens of kills per game doing that. So.
Yeah. You see, like once these games mature, like spots like that on the map become resources on top of the actual resources in the game,
Right.
and then people struggle to fight and
to hold that bridge.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's one thing too, is right now it doesn't seem like a lot of people know how the game plays.
Yeah, like half the time, dude, like people are walking into the rising lava pits because they just don't know that the environment is going to do that
Right.
when they're walking in there.
But that's the thing with DLC, right? There's no instruction book.
Right.
You have to rely on the game, and I know when I get into a game and there's a tutorial there, I'm like, yeah, screw that thing. Like, I don't need it. And then you see that in the loading screens they have tips, and you're like, oh, I'll get everything I need from those, but you don't. You never do.
don't.
Yeah.
I went through the little tutorial. I think you've probably seen this, like a tutorial, like 20 pages of,
Right.
of just text on the screen.
Yep.
You read that, but chances are you're not going to retain it by the time you actually get into a match.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about Splosion Man. Now, our review for that just went up a couple days ago. Miguel, you also reviewed that game. You're the DLC king right now.
That's right.
And you really like Splosion Man.
Yeah, that game is excellent.
That's a great game.
I played a co-op with Brooks, who when he's not sniffing permanent markers, he's helping me do chain jumps off of this. It was fun, man.
Yeah,
That
we
game-
played with another guy online, and the three of us were going through the maps, and it's coordinated in such a way that you really have to work together and be at the right place at the right time because you have to hit the switches all at the same time.
It looks hard as balls at co-op.
It
though.
gets crazy, yeah.
It
Like,
forces you to.
yeah, you arrive at a sequence where you see like 3 switches that have to be hit, and then from there it's kind of like if the people who you're playing with aren't in the same room with you, it's invariably 2 minutes of jackasses blowing up all over the place until all of a sudden, like almost by accident, you figure it out.
Yeah.
So-
The dynamics change for multiplayer because you explode off each other.
Well, anyway, like the best thing about that game is just the way that it sort of tricks you into solving these really complex logic puzzles, but it sort of makes it painless, and it makes it feel like you're doing it on the fly by propelling everything so quickly. You'll be blasting through an environment where you see like some moving platforms going up and down with spike pits coming from one side and barrels all over the place, and you'll go straight through it, executing it perfectly more often than you think you can.
So, Miguel, here's my question. It's a platformer. We've been playing platformers for a really long time. Why is this any different than all the other ones that come out? Is it better than Braid?
It's different. I mean, Braid is this kind of a game you take slow. This is like the opposite. Like I said, you're fooled into solving these puzzles by being propelled at super fast, super fast speeds through them. I don't know, man. I'm not really the kind of guy that likes logic puzzles so much
Yeah.
in games. Like I get bored of that shit easily. But I was super into this. Like the game has a feature that allows you to to skip a level if you die too much, and it's anticipating that you're frustrated. And I only did it once in the
They
whole
gimp
game.
everything anymore. It's great.
But like the game disses you for doing it too, though. Like if you do it, the next level you play, you'll be going through it with a 2-2. Yeah,
That's awesome.
Nice.
and it's the feature's called the Way of the Coward. But like I'm the kind of guy where if one of these games frustrates me, I'm done with it.
Yeah.
And I think it's telling that in 50 levels of like pretty challenging platform puzzles, I only did that once.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
So yeah, it's excellent, man. It's good stuff.
Now we're going to talk about the DLC machine that is Fallout 3. How do they even get these things done this quickly?
That's because they've been planning it all the way through. They've actually been really clever, and this is the game, and these are the DLC packs that we are working on at the same time, and they'll be ready to go out.
I mean, what is it? Once every
concurrently.
3 months they put out
They've
a
been
new
out-
No,
one?
it's been a little more frequent than that.
Yeah.
About
It's been
every month
si-
or 2 months.
6 weeks.
That's
on average.
insane.
And they're pretty
It's-
substantial DLC.
And
Yeah.
it's so, honestly, this is so the way forward. Yeah, everybody knows I spooge over Fallout 3.
Yeah.
I downloaded this morning, and I've only just started playing it. What they've done is a very cool way of prolonging the life of the game. The game was already 100 plus hours of gameplay, and now you've got these segments.
Or
that
more
are,
if you're Daniel Bloodworth.
or 2 hours if it's you, because
Right.
you'll just go straight to the end mission. But no, what they've done is they've planned all this DLC, and they're all $10 a pop, and there's enough gameplay there. Nothing is feels really underwhelming. They've added the new levels, the new level caps. They've added the new achievements. They've added the new weaponry, and it's just a very clever way of doing it. And the rumor is that while this is the last announced one for the moment, there are possibly 2 others before the end of the year, which would be fantastic.
So they are eventually going to stop.
Well, I'm sure they're going to stop because even though they're doing really well off them, I'm sure the numbers are actually really, really good. There's this big pack coming at the end of the year, I think, for the PS3 version where everything's all on one disc. But we know we have Fallout New Vegas coming. My point being is that this is a great way to take something that's that's as great as an RPG and really expand it over several months. And you pay $10 a pop for the DLC, but it's great, and it just keeps on giving you more and more to play through. So much so that actually after downloading, Point Lookout, I actually restarted my game again.
Wow.
And just started going through in a totally different way because I knew I had all this great stuff coming, and it was a totally new experience. So without giving away too much spoilers, yes, it's more Fallout, but it's very stylized. I love the take on the aliens in particular. If you've seen the trailers, you see the aliens with their big eyes and their big heads. It's very Area 51, and so some of the weapons just love the disintegration of the enemies as they come at you. But no
Yeah.
Catherine Zeta-Jones anal probing anybody, unfortunately.
I think this whole discussion has just really brought up one thing, and that's if you don't have Xbox Live or PSN, you've had a really shitty summer.
Yeah.
I mean, really, these are all like the best games that have come out this summer, and if you don't have a broadband connection,
Battlefield.
Yeah, I mean,
Battlefield,
for big games, this has been drier than a 90-year-old woman's snatch.
What?
It makes sense.
It smells like dog.
I said drier, not stinkier. What?
But yeah, in the past, a console RPG wouldn't have had these kinds of expansions. And
Oh,
in
of course not.
In the PC, it would have come out a year later, for 3 times the amount.
Yep.
So
Well, I think this has been a watershed summer for DLC. I think next year it's going to get even better. And from here on in, I think we can expect more and more quality DLC. And we've still got, the Ballad of Gay Tony to come for GTA.
Right.
There's some great stuff towards the end of the year. But, this is the start of the DLC revolution. And we will see bigger hard drives, we'll see faster connections, and we'll see more and more content, whether it's original content like Explosion Man or great expansion packs for games like Fallout.
All right, now we're going to talk about an epidemic that's striking the industry
Herpes.
at its very soul.
Crabs.
And that would be the game delay. It seems like every week now we hear about some other high-profile game that's being pushed back to 2010. Why is that?
Marcus seemed to disagree with me. I think we said one reason called Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah.
But Marcus, you have a different.
You don't see
have a
that
different
people are trying to
theory.
get
You
out
don't
of the
think
way?
people are that afraid of it?
No, I think it's Modern Warfare 2 is sort of like elevated. I mean, it's the £800 gorilla for this fall, but I think it's because it's on so many people's will buy list. It's automatically discounted. So I'm going to get Modern Warfare 2, and then I'm going to get other stuff as well.
Right, but I think a lot of people wish that their game was the game that people say, I'm going to get that game and then something else.
Well, maybe they should make better games then.
I agree with Damiani on this. I think a lot of people see the games that came out during Q4 when Call of Duty 4 came out, and they realize that there were really good games that didn't really sell to their potential. And I think some people are clearing out. I mean,
I think it's also.
Well, I think that makes sense when you're looking at like Singularity and Dark Void and Bayonetta. It's like, you know, you're gonna put those new IPs out there.
And so, yeah, some of those games are better off moving to the new year, but simply because we saw some IP launch last year like Mirror's Edge that was a pretty good game but didn't sell.
but it also didn't even have like a Call of Duty game to go against. I mean, it had the Treyarch version of Call of Duty.
But
But
Q4 is always like
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Last
that's
year
just
was
the way it
jammed.
is. But I think with this game in particular, you're really talking about what is an anomaly at this point. I mean, Halo can't sell with Call of Duty anymore. There's nothing that can sell with it. Maybe the next World of Warcraft might sell like that. But
Well, it'll actually be interesting to see. We've
how
talked
Halo
about.
does do against it.
I didn't
yeah,
want to,
it's about to find out, right?
Well, I didn't want this to devolve into another sort of like petition thread, but there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people in the UK, especially, kind of pissed off at the price of Modern Warfare 2 because
Oh, right.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
actually the first. I think it's $59.99 UK pounds,
No.
which means it's almost
What, about
100
$80?
Almost $100.
Really?
I mean, given the current exchange rate, so it's a pretty. It's
Ouch.
And on top of the
That's
other
rough.
Activision really expensive games.
Well, just to put it in perspective, I mean, what's a game typically?
In the UK, on average, they've been, they top out at about $50, $49.99.
Really?
And you've got to remember, VAT is built in the UK, so $49.99 is the price you pay for the real top end stuff.
Right.
Now I'm wondering if like we went back to like last fall where it was like a little overcrowded last fall. There wasn't like a huge title, but it was overcrowded. But one of the companies kind of broke that trend in the last few years has been like Capcom. They
Right.
kind of put their things in Q1 of every year where there's relatively nothing else, and they've been finding good success. I wonder if all these people, it's not maybe just not Modern Warfare 2, but hey, Q1's a viable,
Bayonetta. That's
Yeah.
why they shoved Bayonetta out. So
But
they
now
got
it seems like all these games are now getting stacked into Q1, and Q1 next year is going to become like last year's Q4.
I think the
Um,
killer with Bayonetta is that, from what I can tell, it's pretty much done. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
they showed me pretty much the whole game at E3.
And then God of War's coming out at that same time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, but the thing with Bayonetta, though, is it's coming out still October in Japan. The game's pretty much in English anyways, as far as dialogue goes. It's not going to be that hard to figure out how to play it.
You can play the Japanese version on your PS3.
Yeah, it's going to be import heaven.
Yeah.
I think of the ones that have slipped, I mean, Bayonetta, I'm not really stoked about Bayonetta. I mean, the ones I'm upset to be missing or looking forward to still, Bioshock 2, that's obviously a big one, and that has affected Take-Two's overall,
Bottom line,
2K
yeah.
games, sorry, overall bottom line. Splinter Cell Conviction, and I like that.
Which has been in development for like 4 years.
Yeah, so I don't think that's going to really affect anything. But those are the big two, to be honest. Dead to Rights, I'm always curious to see a new Dead to Rights game. But
Well, you see Red Steel 2, that was delayed. Now, what is the big Q4 game for the Wii?
Wii Fit Plus.
Is
New
that
Super
it?
Mario Brothers Wii.
That's pretty bad.
That's awful. For the
And
system
Monster
that
Hunter's
is
not coming
in
out
the
here
lead.
until next year.
yeah, but
Yeah.
given the games that have come out, the hardcore games that have come out, this year on the Wii, and the fact they haven't sold well,
No.
you know,
Still, there's something for us to play, is what I'm talking. I'm being selfish here. There's nothing for me to play on the Wii from here to like the end of the year. How can that be?
And on the same token, as far as games with Motion Plus support, I mean, we haven't heard that much.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, from now until when is there another Motion Plus game?
Yeah, Red Steel 2 was going to be a big one.
That was supposed to be the big one.
I think this basically just confirms that the Wii has moved into being a fully casual game system, where every now and again you'll get a hardcore release, but unless the hardcore releases sell, which the 3 haven't.
Yeah. I mean, the only ones that do are Nintendo's games. That's
Yeah.
it.
And Capcom.
Yeah. Their stuff does okay.
That's- You got your on-rail shooters coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like what Sin and
Dead
Punishment
Space.
2 is for next year, and I don't
Yep.
understand that either. Like,
Yep.
how hard can it be to make that game?
And then Dead Space Extraction.
That's this fall.
That's another on-rail shooter, pretty much.
Although I think that one looks a little better than Resident Evil Dark
I'd
Side
agree with that.
Chronicles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But looking through the list of games that, what's still coming, you automatically discount the Maddens, the FIFAs, Pro Evo, anything that's the latest iteration of a sports franchise, I automatically discount those. We know they're going to sell like crazy all over the world. Good luck to them. There is still some good stuff coming, and when you pull out Modern Warfare 2 and, Rock Band, the Beatles, again, I think those kind of need to be off in their own little area. Dragon Age Origins, the latest from BioWare, that is,
Yeah, I think you're the only one that cares about that.
Well, no, I mean, there's definitely a fan base there for BioWare stuff.
Yeah.
What else? What else is on the list? Ratchet and Clank, Uncharted
Yes.
2. Uncharted 2 is, in my books, going to be the biggest selling PS3 game this fall,
More than Modern Warfare 2.
with regards to Sony's.
An exclusive.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think anything's going to be more than
No, I mean
Modern
it's about to, Sony, the last one sold really well. I think this one is looking even better. I think if they can get their marketing together, and that's obviously the big if, that's going to do really well, and that's just a great title to look forward
Plus all its
to.
online co-op and burst modes.
Yeah,
it's gonna
I
be great.
think if Modern Warfare 2, if considering the glitches we've heard this week with all the cheating on the PS3 version of Modern Warfare, where wall hacks and glide hacks are just going bananas, so much so that Infinity Ward are working on an emergency patch right now. If that follows on, well, Modern Warfare 2 on the PS3, who knows how well it's going to do. We know it'll do well on the PC and the 360. Be interesting to see how it does on the PS3.
I mean, honestly, the big games that are coming out Q4, Modern Warfare 2, Assassin's Creed 2, provided it doesn't slip, which I'm really nervous about at this point.
Yeah.
Halo ODST, Left 4 Dead 2. The rest is just kind of like, well, depending on what you like or you don't like, may do well, may not do well. But I mean, those are really the four, and Uncharted 2, obviously. Those are the five big hitters.
And I think it'll be interesting to see how Brutal Legend does. I'm really
I do not
interested
have
to
a lot
see-
of faith in the sales of Brutal Legend.
I think they'll probably sell better than the last couple of Tim Schafer games, which, to be fair, wouldn't
Well,
be hard.
Psychonauts sold like 40,000 or something, so
I
you
think-
better hope that it sells a lot better than Psychonauts.
Yeah, you've been doing
But
a pretty good
Psychonauts
job
still
marketing
looked like
this.
a kid's game. And I think
It
it
did.
was kind of in that weird place where people didn't know what to do with it.
I think Brutal Legend
It'll be
will
interesting to
surprise
see what
people.
EA's marketing does versus what Majesco's marketing did.
Right.
There's quite a difference there.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm also worried about Borderlands too, because that's coming out in October, right before.
I wouldn't be
Modern
surprised if
Warfare.
we get an email in the not too distant future saying Borderlands has also been delayed.
It needs some more work.
I mean, they've never
Yeah.
really shown us the game.
I got to see it at an event. I got to play through the single player and multiplayer. I mean, needs some more polish. The aiming was atrocious in it. Like I
Yeah.
maxed out like the accuracy on a sniper, and you couldn't hit with it.
Wow.
So I mean, the fun factor's there, the design's there. Just they need to tweak a lot of stuff. I have a feeling it'll.
Do you think it's coming out this year?
They just did a press release. I think it is, but I
Yeah.
think it needs more work. I would say they should push it back.
Yeah, maybe one of those cases where they just need something in that fiscal quarter to satisfy stockholders.
It'd be interesting to see how ODST does this year, because the last Halo game did so, Halo 3 did so well. It'll be interesting now that it's, being released around the same time as it always has. Last year, Gears of War 2 sold, but didn't sell as well as Halo 3, and that was the first time we'd seen a drop on those sort of like November Microsoft launches. See if there's any legs left in the Halo franchise, because this will have an interesting impact for Halo Reach next year.
And Gears 2 not selling up to expectations, really surprised. I mean, granted, it sold great. And I know Cliffy's driving his Lamborghini around right now, listening to this podcast, laughing his ass off. But,
Assuming he listens to this podcast.
and that's a big stretch. But I'm shocked. I mean, all the marketing that was behind that game, all the hype that was behind the first game, I cannot believe that it didn't do better than expected. So,
Well, one thing for a racing fan like me, it's like overload.
Oh, yeah.
So many racing games.
Split Second's looking really good. Obviously,
Well,
Forza.
Split Second is next year. But
Oh,
I
it
mean,
is?
Yeah, but this year, I mean, we got Forza, we have Blur, we have Dirt 2.
Need
I just
for
got
Speed
done
Shift.
seeing MX versus ATV, which is coming out this year. I mean, it's a lot. And then Gran Turismo on the PSP.
Some of them are definitely going to fail.
Yeah.
All right, so with all that said, knowing what is coming out and what is not coming out, obviously this could change tomorrow before this podcast goes live on the site.
Yeah, we're recording on a Monday afternoon here, people, so just
Yeah,
let you know.
so a lot could happen in the next few days, but what game are you guys all really pumped for? Marcus,
I'm going to have to say Uncharted 2.
Uncharted 2?
I liked the first one, and I've got, we were having this discussion while we were on pause, and the mics were off. I think this could be Sony's fall if they get their act together. We know that
The door is definitely sitting there open, waiting for them to walk through.
it's open. Yeah, I mean, outside of Call of Duty, which we know is going to sell like gangbusters on the PC and the 360.
On anything it's released for.
Yeah, pretty much in general. But Microsoft could be in for a real hammering with regards to their first-party software this year. Don't know about ODST at all. And it's going to be the third parties that are leading the way, as we've discussed throughout the year. So I'd like to see Sony really step up because they've got such a good lineup this year.
What about you, Damiani?
I don't know if this would count as fall because it's end of the month, but I think it deserves a mention. Is Batman: Arkham Asylum.
Really?
We
just had a discussion about that not long ago.
I
We
heard
did, and
about
you know
that
what?
because I just did the preview for it, and I played that demo build, which was that beat 'em up stage.
Yeah.
It's night and day difference.
Yeah.
It's actually really fun to play.
It is.
I thought the game was going to be a train wreck, but
You didn't feel like you were on autopilot when you were fighting guys.
No,
Really?
I didn't. I think they did something in the combat. 'Cause you can sit there and button mash, you're gonna get hit and shit. But if you want to really later on when you fight tougher enemies, when you want to have that seamless battle experience, you need to actually know what you're pushing. You can't just spam the X button over and over.
But it
again.
seemed like it was just timing. But you're hitting the same button, but it was just making sure you did it at the right time.
It's for the counter system, yes, but then you get more complicated combos you do. It's not just timing. You can't just open up. Some guys will block your initial attacks, and that stun won't work anymore. You unlock new abilities like this grapple, like this throw, where you'll charge someone and pick them up, and you can hurl them into somebody to start the fight like that. So there's a lot more diversity. So it starts off where it's strictly time-based, and it's a little shallow at that point. But it gradually does get pretty deep. And that was just about a
encouraging.
fourth of the game I played, and it took 6-something hours to get through it.
Good.
So it's
That's a big game.
it's gonna be a pretty long game.
He's got me excited
And
for this so much. So that
I was worried
we're
about the
gonna have it back.
downtime, the detective parts in
Yeah.
it are really fun. When you have
Really?
to track down stuff, it seems like you're gonna follow a path and stuff, but it has this kind of open environment style to
It just seemed like when you put on his bat vision, it just showed you everything you needed to do. It's like, go over here, here's the guy that you need to knock out that has what you need. Wasn't like that?
For battles, I think it does make some of the earlier on battles way too easy because you can has X-ray vision, so you can see through stuff, so you can plan it out.
Yeah.
Later on, they do some clever tricks with it where you can't see everything, even with that. So you can't just strictly rely on that. You have to actually swing around, scope out the area, and plan out you have a room with 20+ guys in there.
Yeah, I know.
You can't just drop down there and fight them. You'll get your ass handed to you. So.
Yeah. Well, that's encouraging.
And
That's
the
good to hear.
gadget stuff's fun. So I mean, yeah.
Your most anticipated game of this year.
Right now.
Wow. Bloodworth.
I'm gonna have to go with Uncharted 2 as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I just love the look of that game.
Yeah.
Nothing else. I mean, the facial animations he's got going on, and just all the details and work that they're putting into the graphics and the physics, and it's and really enjoyed the multiplayer beta. I hope they do something that they haven't revealed yet that's different, because everything else it kind of feels just an iteration on other multiplayer. But even so, the maps they've got in there were really fun.
Cool.
Well, I'm right there with you guys with Uncharted 2. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm disappointed that Bayonetta had to get delayed. It was actually going to be one of my holiday buys.
You'll still get to play it.
Yeah, I'll see
It comes out in October in Japan.
That's
Yeah,
true.
we'll have it here.
We'll have
Yeah.
it here. Well, I'm just going to speak in general for the rest of the people. I'm disappointed for them. But yeah, Uncharted 2, you guys said pretty much everything. I played the hell out of the beta. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's a well-executed game. I like the shooting mechanics in it, and it's fun. And for the handheld, I got to give a nod to Scribblenauts, because that, from what I saw and what I've played through, that's a lot of fun. I want to see how that's going to turn out.
Wow, picking one's tough.
Yeah.
It's really tough.
You got to pick one.
I know. Can you tell this was not prepared, I guess, right?
Can you tell the rest of us we're all prepared?
Yeah.
To actually give some thought to it.
I think I'm going to go with Assassin's Creed 2. I really like the first game despite all its issues. What I've played of the second one, it definitely fixes all the issues I had with the first one, except for maybe the swordplay and combat. I'm not convinced yet that they've really upgraded those the way they need to. There's just something about the first Assassin's Creed that really resonated with me. I just felt like when I was playing it, I hadn't played anything like it before. From the setting to the tone to the gameplay, I just really liked it. And I think if I had to pick one game to play this year, I'd probably play that. I think Call of Duty and Modern Warfare 2 and Uncharted 2 are probably right behind that in a close second. So for my taste, Assassin's Creed 2. All right, now we're bringing back one of our old school segments. This is one-word reviews, and this is for Fat Princess. Can everybody even do this, or
I'm sure we can. We've all played
okay?
it in some
We've
way,
all
shape,
given
or
it a
form.
go. Marcus, your one-word review for Fat Princess.
Hefty.
Hefty.
I think
Bloodworth, what's your one-word review?
You could probably take this 2 different ways, but wait.
Hey,
Wait,
that's smart thinking.
that's a good one. That took me a second. so I'm not good at explosion.
Miguel, what's your one-word review?
Compelling. No, I'm just kidding. Communication.
Communication. Brooks Huber.
I wrote mine down.
In case you forgot it.
You wrote it down phonetically as well.
I did. Micro-viciousness. Micro because they're small, vicious because they're little vicious men, and goodness because it's goodness. Micro-viciousness.
What's that word again?
I think you
Micro-
just made
It's
up
not.
a word.
It's not a word.
No, making
collection
up
of
words is
words.
okay. I just can't understand what he's saying.
Here, I'm going to hand you the paper.
Now I know why you brought a paper.
It's like something like
Micro-viciousness.
microfish.
Microviciedness.
Micro-viciousness.
No, that's not vicious. It's vicious.
Vicious.
You
And then
just
goodness.
said it and you
Let's just
can't
put 'em all
remember your own
together.
word.
There's another paper here. It says, if I'm lost, deliver me to this address. Like that.
It says my car keys are in my backpack.
You're not getting a job at Twister anytime soon.
They left Brooks.
I could not do Brandon's job.
They left you at the train station.
All right, and my one-word review for Fat Princess is filling. All right, that'll do it for episode 69 of Invisible Walls. I don't know how.
Why is everybody looking at me?
We're expecting a
Be
sexual
dirty,
quirk.
Marcus. Hopefully we didn't offend your sensibilities too much. Be sure to check us out on Facebook. Join the group. We have not got the Mario hat yet. As soon as we have it, we'll have a picture of me wearing the hat in the show. Or maybe I'll just act like it never came in.
I've got Ryan
just never
Stevens
showed
checking
up.
your mail.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll see you all next week. Peace.